Now, I'll be starting with John Olufemi-Adesuyi, is the governorship candidate. Zenith Labour Party, Osun State, he joins virtually. It's great to have you, Mr. Olufemi-Adesuyi. Let me pick up from what the Accord official did say, that is meant to observe the materials, and saying that there seems to be a slight delay, even though they seem still to be within the timetable frame. As a candidate in this election, what's your take?
We have been told that our representatives should be at INEC office by 8 a.m. Though myself, I was contemplating maybe it is not possible because a couple of weeks ago, said STP political party get a court judgment that it should be included in the ballot paper, which now necessitating reprinting of another ballot paper. So that one is already a tenable excuse in the part of INEC. And by the fact that they told us yesterday that we're going to have the ballot paper in us today, and now the ballot paper has been shared to all local governments. It's only for the Senate material to take off from the CBA. So you see a kudos or a block in the part of INEC. So our representative is also at the central bank, as I speak with you. So, and we still believe in the process. And I believe if INEC stick to their promise that this election is going to be transparent, it's going to be credible, it's going to be conclusive, there won't be any problem at the end of the day.
All right, I'll come back to you, Mr. Olufemi-Adesuyi. Let me go to Taiwo. Taiwo, I mean, it's great having you on the program this evening. From all you've observed, in the build-up to this election, there have been concerns raised, concerns around security, around party loyalty, around certain individuals or the activities or roles of certain individuals, persons, or groups. I mean, from everything that you've observed and seen so far, there are also concerns how this election will eventually, pan out on Saturday itself. Fears that maybe it will be peaceful, or otherwise, or even maybe voters will come out. Do you have such reservations, or do you have such concerns too?
Thank you very much, Dapo, for having me. It's always a pleasure to be on this central again. Let me do a bit of data analysis, as I always do.
Okay.
First and foremost, Osun State has about a population of 5.8 million by Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. I think their GDP is about 7.8 billion. And historically, aside from Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola, who actually emerged as the governor of Osun State from 2010 to 2018, no candidate in the Osun ever since 1999 has won the two-term elections. Let's start with late Adeleke. He did from 1992 to 1993, where that administration was hijacked by the military. Afterwards, we had BC Akonde in 1999 to 2003, and then we have the next governor, Onyola, who won in 2003 and to 2007, and then won in 2007, but was annulled by the court in Ibadan in 2010 that gave room for Rauf Aregbesola to become governor. So in antecedent of this, we have seen that Oyo State elections are very tough elections historically. Having said that, on one side, I've kept the population, I've kept the GDP, I have kept the historical framework. Now let's look at the other activities that have happened in the past few months in respect to these elections. We've had elections violence from different parties accusing different parties. We've also had even a senator saying that a particular political party member should be killed for supporting another political party. Now, that's another side. Let's also bring out the issue of branding. Now, one thing that most people are not talking about, and the media is not talking about today, is the fact of branding. Now, Accord Party has a yellow color. We have the APC with a blue and a red and a white color. We have the ADC with a green color, and then we have the, I think I've just mentioned the three major political parties. Now, in one of the previous allegations that has been raised up in the past few days or few months in the towards the coming of this election was court fights. Now, there is a particular court that is relatable to a certain color of one of the political parties. And these are the things that a lot of people are now alleging to say that it has now gone beyond the inter-party rancors to fraternity issues.
Can this really be substantiated?
Of course, because these were allegations that I think a particular candidate in the Osun election made mention of some time ago. And then, if you remember, sometime last 2 weeks or thereabout, where the NURTW issue came up, there were allegations that the particular person that was supposed to head the pack was a member of a particular fraternity versus the existing person that wasn't a member of a particular fraternity. So these are a lot of issues that we can actually now bring into face to say that Osun election is not going to be a kick by the ball. It's not going to be an easy one. A lot of voters are going to be frightened to come out to vote on election day, considering the fact that I think Osun has about 1 million plus registered voters, if I'm not wrong. Mm-hmm. And then with that number, how many people are we going to have? If we go back to 2022, when Governor Adeleke won the election, how did he win the election? He won it with about over 250,000 votes or thereabout. And the incumbent at that time was Oyetola, who actually lost about 200 and something votes. In 2018, if we remember, when Oyetola and Adeleke were both newcomers on the ballot, there was a rerun where Oyetola eventually emerged as winners. And information that gathered during that election period, during the rerun, was that during the rerun, the members of the All Progressives Congress were given a kind of signature tag to, they call it handkerchief.
All right.
So they were asked to hold handkerchiefs, white in color, and that automatically signified that they were going to actually vote for the All Progressives Congress in 2018. And people that did not hold that handkerchief in 2018 were chased out of the what do you call it?
I mean, this is an interesting angle you bring into this conversation. But let's see if we can, of course, have Olawale Rasheed as the Chief Press Secretary to the Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke join the conversation now. All right. Okay. We, of course, are still trying to connect. Let's go back to John Olufemi-Adesuyi, the governorship candidate, Zenith Labour Party, Osun State. Mr. Olufemi-Adesuyi, maybe you'd like to react to some of the things that have been said, but as a candidate in this election, do you also have reservations as regards the arrangement build up to this particular elections? Concerns have been raised around security, around logistics, around the role of certain persons. As a candidate, do you also have reservations, or are you comfortable with the current arrangement?
Thank you. Naturally, there are concerns with what we are seeing going around, killing of innocent souls of sons and daughters of Osun State. These killings are unwarranted. Nevertheless, we are communicating with our supporters, members of our political party, to be resolute through our communication links and party leadership that they should come out and exercise their civic right by putting their candidates in this election. So we don't want to have what we call voter apathy, as we have been expressing in the previous elections. So we are doing our best to communicate and liaise constantly with our party supporters, even though the objectives of those perpetrating the violence is to cause apathy and some other things. But we are working seriously to ensure that people come out en masse and exercise their civic right by putting their candidates in this coming election. And we have actually informed them to be vigilant and to also not to make sure that they confront themselves at the polling unit, so that there won't be any issues of violence or any issues of whatever. Tell our voters, our supporters rather, do not afraid. You cannot be intimidated in whatever happens from any quarter. So they stand not to be intimidated. So they are resolute. But as regards security, I believe if the security personnel, authorities and agencies are ready to do their best, the security personnel we have on ground are enough to curtail any form of violence. They are enough to ensure.
All right, Mr. Olufemi, sorry to interrupt you, but I'm going to come in here, and this will be a bit of a direct question. This election, one is to look at it frankly, even though we know that there are about 15 candidates registered to run for the top job in the state, it seems to be a tripartite race. In fact, it's just, if one is to really look at it, with some sort of microscopic eye, it seems to be a twofold race. The Accord Party and the All Progressives Congress, whereas there are 15 candidates, running this race. You are one of them. So I want to ask you as a direct question, a member of the opposition in the state, would you say you are doing enough to let people know that you also exist in this race?
If I will ask you directly, if I answer directly, among the contestants in this election, how many of them are online at this moment? What differentiates us is that 2 or 3 political parties have access to public funds. And because of that, they tend to utilize public funds. The funds that have been used to make sure that the people enjoy the dividends of democracy. These funds are being kept for election purpose and because they have already weaponized poverty in the past.
So you are saying... So you are saying the biggest challenge right now for other political parties might just be access to public funds, financing.
Come again.
Are you saying that one of the challenges or the major challenge, where it appears other political parties don't seem to be, as loud or as known as the 3 or 2 that are the main political parties in the state, is lack of access to public funds, financing? Is that what you're saying?
That other political parties enjoy is because they have access to public funds, both at the state and at the federal, and they must utilize it against other political parties. And this will continue. INEC was able to monitor electoral financing by political party, electoral funding and finances. There are many that say the government should not spend more than 1 billion. But with what we have seen, physically without any empirical analysis, we can see that we have parties that are above that. But the side have that mechanism to trace and get the facts in order to prosecute them. So this has to be done to bring sanity into our electoral system. So not that the other political parties are better than the rest, but the only difference is that they have access to our sovereign wealth.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you very much. We'll go on our final break. When we return, of course, we will be winding down. Stay with us, we'll be right back. You're still watching Politics HQ on News Central Television. We just have a few minutes left, and I think this is where we will be wrapping it up. I'd have loved to, of course, extend this conversation, but the Osun election is still very much on, so definitely into the weekend, we will be continuing the conversation. It's been great having you, my guest this evening, John Olufemi-Adesuyi, Governorship Candidate, Zenith Labour Party. Thank you so much for your time. Taiwo, Osanyin, Political Analyst, as always. Thank you also. Well, elections. We're already in that season as a country, Nigeria. This will be, what I call it, the last off-cycle election, the final governorship election before the general elections in the country. Now, the big question still remains. Have you gotten your PVC? Elections are not won only on social media, they're won in real life. So it's not just about tweeting, talking, or making noise on social media. It's being involved physically. That's where you make impact.